Hi, I'm Paul from the Trek Bike Store in Cherryville, and today I'm going to show you how to set up a Bontrager Trip wireless computer. Now, once we open the box of the Trip computers, you'll have all these pieces here. Now, that's not necessarily proprietary. You'll see similar pieces in any wireless computer system. So what we'll have is we have the computer head. We'll also have the back and the battery for that head. We have the computer mount, which is what's going to hold the computer head. Also have various style shims, which we'll get to when we go through the installation. Also, we'll have a couple zip ties, which you may or may not need depending on your bike. Also, 2 different size clamps, and again, we'll get to which one is going to work for your bike when we do the install. You'll also have a sensor, and then a sensor mount as well. And again, we'll go through the specifics of these pieces as we go through the installation. Now we're going to work on programming the computer head to your specific bike. The first thing we're going to have to do is install the battery. Now normally that's just going to pop right into the back here. And then you'll use the cap at the end to slide that in. Now it has a little notch here. The easiest thing to use is actually a nickel. So that fits right in there. Tighten that, close it up, and now it should kick everything on. Now we're at our wheel size. In order to change that wheel size, you're actually going to use there's 2 buttons on the bottom. The button labeled M will actually help you scroll through. So we can go through, and on the bike that I'm going to be setting up today, we have a 700 by 35. So once I get to that, then I'll use the other button, labeled with an S. That will bring me to my next screen. And that's going to bring us to kilometers per hour or miles per hour. In order to change that, right now it's kmh, so that would be kilometers. In order to change that, again, we'll use the M button on the bottom and switch that up to mph, which is miles per hour. Again, once we're finished with that, we're going to hit the S button to set it. And that's going to bring on the Trip 5, it talks about temperature. It records temperature as well. So in the small corner, it's blinking F. And that's going to be for Fahrenheit. That's what I'd like to keep it as. So again, we're going to use that S button to set it. And that's going to bring us to our main screen. Now the computer is actually set up, but in order to change the time, we're going to use that same S button, and we're going to hold that down for 5 seconds. And now it's asking for my time. First thing it's going to ask is if you like a 12-hour clock or a 24-hour clock. It's flashing 12, so I'm going to hit this M button here. Hit the S button here to select that. Now it's asking for the time. Right now it is 3:48, so I'm going to use the M button to scroll through to 3, and then I'm going to hit that S button to bring me over to the minutes. I'm going to go up to 48. Alright, and then the S button to set that. And now your computer is set, and we're ready to install it on your bike. First thing you need to decide is we're going to have the 2 different handlebar mounts now that we're installing the computer on the handlebar. On this specific bike, you can see that we're probably going to use the smaller of the 2. So we'll use the smaller one. We'll also use the shim piece that's inside of there. This piece actually can just get tucked right inside there. On some handlebar sizes, you may need to cut that down, but on this one, we should be okay with it set up complete. Next 2 pieces we're going to need are the small shim that's actually going to go on the back. You can see on the back of this one there's actually a plus, and that's going to line up right with the plus on the back of this, on the back of the mount. So we're going to slide that in, just kind of presses in there, and then we're going to take the handlebar mount and actually slide that in there as well. Now that we have those 2 pieces in place, we want to snap this part right on the handlebar. You kind of want to hold everything all together. When you're done, everything should stay together just like that. And you want to make sure that the full edge is facing forward. Now the last thing we're going to do is actually drop the screw in there. And we'll need a Phillips screwdriver. You're just going to tighten that piece down. Alright, now that that's done, we're just going to snap the computer in there, and you're done. And now for the last part of the install, we're actually going to install the sensor on the fork of the bike. Now the one thing you have to remember is you should be mounting this on the front of the bike. The sensor can't read all the way to the back, so it has to be on the front fork. An easy way to remember this is you should be able to reach with your elbow to wherever the sensor is, and that's how close it has to be, otherwise it's not going to read it. So to start, you can use zip ties for this, but the Bontrager ones will include these 2 rubber straps. Now on most bikes you're going to use the smaller one, and that's the case on this bike too. Just depends on which one's going to fit. So what you're going to need, you'll take the sensor, which is this piece here, and you take that rubber shim. And those two pieces will actually just fit right together. Then we're going to take the rubber strap, hook it into the loop there, and then we're going to wrap it around the front. Now you want to make sure this is pointing forward. It's just going to slide right around, and you want it to be just underneath the brake. It hooks up just like that. And the last part of this is we're actually going to install the magnet, and that magnet right on the front of the sensor, there's a white line. You want to line that magnet up with that white line and get it about 2 business cards width away, so almost touching. And snap that magnet on, and now everything should be ready. Alright, now that the sensor is linked up, we're actually going to be able to scroll through our options. Now we're going to use that same M button on the side to actually scroll through those options. So right now you can see we're at the time. We hit that M button one time, that'll bring us to our maximum speed, which you can see is 27.4. We hit it again, that'll bring us to our average. But one more time you're going to see your odometer, and that's going to be your accumulated miles for the whole thing. Once more, and you're going to see your trip distance, and that's just the distance you've ridden since you last cleared the computer. And the next one is your total time, a stopwatch for the time that you've ridden so far. And one more time will bring us back to our clock. Now in order to reset the trip computer, you're actually going to you can go to any of the screens, and this is going to reset everything except for the odometer and the clock. But if we hold both the M and the S button down at the same time, and then the computer is reset. And you can scroll through again and kind of see that the clock is still correct, but your maximum speed is gone, your average speed is cleared. Your odometer, even though it's 0 now, would stay the same, and then your trip distance is also cleared out.